Hello! All my friends are synths. Today I want to pick up on something that I started talking about or doing in another video and then kind of ran out of time and enthusiasm for. When I was looking at the Casio PT-80, which I picked up for 20 quid a few weeks ago, I wanted to write or record a whole track just using the PT-80 as the main sound source. Now I know lots of people have done things like this, but I have never done this, and so thought it was worth trying with my new instrument. The ground rules I'm going to set for this are that I can only use the PT-80 as the single sound source. I want to use the drum patterns and stuff that come with it because it didn't seem like much point in, building a drum track and then just using this as like a keyboard on top of it. It seemed kind of pointless. So I'm going to make use of the drum tracks. The issue with that is that I obviously can't clock this in any way. There's no MIDI input or anything like that. It also doesn't tell you what tempo the patterns are, so I'm going to have to tap tempo using some website that I'll find on Google and then record it into Logic. My plan is to use the smart tempo thing to kind of figure it out and flex time so it's all in the right bit and I can loop it without any issues. And the reason that's important is because I want to then import it into the Digitakt so I can mess up the pattern and make it a bit more interesting. Because again, I don't want to just use the pattern as it comes out because I think that it'd be fine, but I want to make it a bit more, interesting to listen to. So after deciding which pattern to use, if I recall correctly, disco was probably the one I liked best from when I looked at these, but let's have a listen. Why the fuck? Why does nothing fucking work? Disco. That could be the winner, but I'm just going to check. Samba was also quite interesting. I like that, but there's a bit too much going on. Slow rock. It's fine, but not interesting enough. Yeah, disco is the winner. The weird thing is it's like peaking, but only on the snare hit, which is interesting. Clearly no compression in this thing. What I'm going to do is basically tap the tempo on this crappy website. Okay, let's say roughly 107 BPM. And now I'm going to set it up and record. Okay, that's a wee bit fast, but whatever. Smart tempo will fix it. Okay, here's my loop. Wonderful. I had to flex time so that the beats were actually at the right place because Logic didn't do it properly automatically and I couldn't be arsed figuring out how to do it automatically, so I just did it myself. So thanks very much, Logic, for fucking nothing. Now I want to record the output of this into the Digitakt, which will let me mess about with the pattern in a more interesting way, do some weird reverse things and all that kind of sample stuff. The only obstacle I can foresee here is that I have never actually recorded into the Digitakt. I've always dragged samples over via WAV, but I kind of can't be arsed doing that, so I'm just going to record in and hope that it works. I haven't really used the Digitakt a whole lot in recent times because after I bought it, it took Electron about 2 years to implement Overbridge like they said they would, so I kind of gave up on it for a long time because I couldn't get multi-track recordings off it very easily, but they finally fucking released it, God knows when, but it works now, so I'm a bit rusty in the old controls, so this will probably take longer than it should. What the fuck? Why did that beep? Okay, so I tried to get this to work, but I couldn't figure out how to record the bloody sample into the Digitakt. I looked up the manual and everything else, and I was looking at the settings and trying to get it to work, and it just reminded me that That's everything I hate about making music. So all I did was export the WAV, and I've imported it over USB. And now if I hit play, you can hear that the sample is in there. The problem is that it's too quiet and you can hear it trailing off. It's also a weird length. So what I'm going to have to do is first of all fix that so there's no, so it doesn't, you know, just trail off. So. Okay, I'm going to add some of the Digitakt effects and overdrive it a wee bit. Now I'm going to kind of fuck up the pattern a wee bit by throwing in some, you know, whatever they call them, the points where you can reverse things and all that kind of thing. So, pitch it down. How do I pitch it down again? Ah, tune. Okay, so after a whole bunch of messing about, I got something that's, you know, acceptable for what I want. So here we go. Not bad, eh? That could be one of the best beats that I have never personally written. Just to remind you what the original sounded like. Original. I am exceptionally, surprisingly pleased with how that came out. So I guess now what I have to do is write some melody on the keyboard. And I haven't thought about what I'm going to do for that. So maybe I'll go walk the dog and a brilliant idea will come to me. Hopefully. Okay, I have my drum patterns down. I created an extra one just to give a wee bit more variation in things. For the melody, I'm going to use the accompaniment buttons over here to give like a bass kind of pad level sound maybe. And then I'm going to go on and do like a lead, I think. I don't want to fall into the trap of just sampling all the sounds and throwing them into the Digitakt and then, you know, cutting them up and pitch shifting them and everything else, because really you could do that with any instrument and make it sound like something else. So I don't want to lose the character of this. So I think I'll record it dry and then I'll figure out whether I want to run it outboard through outboard effects like, you know, my delays or whatever. I don't want to just throw it through a granular sample and then get a, you know, a zzz cut thing and fucking. Okay, cool. It's good enough for me. Try an accompaniment for that. So let's fucking loop it. I'm beginning to think this concept of just using one sound source could be more tricky than I thought. So maybe this will be less of a song and more of like a half song. So what I've done is add a whole pile of VSTs. I've put in reverbs and weird things, and I've pitched things around to give it some more depth. I've used the Digitakt whammy to go down and detune and various things. And I'm now going to use the Montreal Assembly Purple, which is kind of like a sine wavy synth pedal thing, and it does stuff like gives that glitchy edge to it. It's also going through a Boss delay, and I'm going to put the finishing touches on, and then that'll be me. So I think that's about as far as I'm going to be able to take this without rewriting the whole chunks and getting into that kind of endless loop of, trying to change things until it sounds better. And I quite like it. It sounds alright. It's not my usual style. It's not necessarily something I would ever release, but it's been fun to make, and it's forced me to think a bit differently about how I can get different sounds out of quite a limited palette. The effects pedals in particular, I like the pitch shifter very much. The detune option is a godsend because it makes things sound much fuller than they actually are. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't have messed about with the Digitakt if I hadn't been forced to sample some of that stuff. So I think if I really spent some time and sat down with the Digitakt and created a whole bunch of new rhythms and thought more carefully about the melody and composition and all that, then it could sound really cool. But to be honest, for what it is, I'm happy enough, and so I'm going to go with it. It's a nice, pleasant wee experimental tune to close out this whatever day it is now in coronavirus land. I don't know if you could quite call it a song. It's maybe half a song or a track or something, but whatever it is what it is.